Hello and welcome to our Project Finance and Infrastructure Modeling course. Now, I know that you probably want to jump into the case studies and the modeling tests here right away, but I want to start by taking a few minutes to explain this course first. This is especially important if you have limited time, so maybe you only have a few hours or a few days or a weekend to finish this or at least get as much out of this as you possibly can. We'll cover those points in this lesson, also explain some of the prerequisites for this course, and go into how our training here is a bit different from other project finance and infrastructure training on the market. By the end of this video, you should have a good idea of what to do next and how to approach the course and the lessons within. So I'll start with the course prerequisites, then go into the study plans and course completion options, and then go into how this course differs from others on the market. In terms of prerequisites, we are assuming that you have at least intermediate knowledge of Excel, accounting, and valuation. You don't need to know VBA or Python or other programming languages. In some cases, VBA can be helpful for project finance, but you don't need to know that much going into it. If you know Excel, you'll be able to pick up enough as we move through the lessons. You also don't need advanced financial modeling skills or detailed knowledge of merger or LBO models. Roughly speaking, this means that you should know the first few modules of our Excel course, and in our financial modeling course, you should know about accounting, three-statement models, equity value and enterprise value, and DCF analysis. So I'm going to give you a quick test right now, or a series of tests, so you can tell if this course is appropriate for you. Test number 1. Let's say I gave you a company's annual report and asked you to build a simple DCF model for the company based on its unlevered free cash flow. So let's say, for example, that I gave you this report for this company, BMC Stock Holdings. We have the income statement, and then we have the company's cash flow statement there. And then I asked you to build a fairly simple DCF that starts with revenue and goes down to unlevered free cash flow and then values the company. Would you feel comfortable doing something like this in Excel without having a template to look at? The second test is whether you can explain these Excel formulas. So here's one for XLOOKUP, and then here's one for SUMIFs. I'm not going to give you the answers right now, but could you look at these formulas and tell what they're doing? If so, you should be in good shape because we will be using these types of formulas quite a bit. If not, you probably need to learn a little bit more about Excel first. And then the third test, do you know Excel's shortcuts and navigation fairly well? So I'm going to go on screen back to that simple DCF I showed you, and I'm just going to navigate around and jump around a little bit, and then I'll delete some rows here, and then I'll undo that, and then I'll go in here and I'll change the formatting. And I'm not using the mouse for any of this except for the color change that I put in place. And then maybe we can go down here and I can change the number of decimals in all these numbers or the formatting or things like that. So I'm going around and just making some minor formatting changes. Would you feel comfortable doing all that without using the mouse except for maybe picking the color as I just showed you? If you feel comfortable with all those, you should be in good shape for this course. If not, you need to learn a little bit more first. You could take our Excel or core financial modeling courses, or you could just learn a lot of this for free on our YouTube channel or in our knowledge base. You could read books. It's really up to you, but I would say that is the bare minimum knowledge that you need for this course. Okay, so now let's move into the study plans and the course completion options. The short answer is that modules 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D here all present 4 simple case studies, and they're effectively a crash course in project finance. We cover 2 acquisition examples for a toll road and a natural gas power plant, and then 2 development examples for a solar plant and an offshore wind development. If you have only a few hours to prepare, I would just focus on modules 1A and 1B on the toll road and the solar plant development. If you have more like a day or a few days or a weekend to prepare, then I think you could finish everything in these first 4 modules, and the completion time should probably be around 5 to 10 hours, depending on how much of the Excel work you do and how much of the videos you watch and whether you just look at the notes or you also complete the videos. But this is what I would say overall. In terms of the actual lessons themselves, we get some questions about how to follow along in Excel and look at the video and then finish the files at the same time. And we recommend this approach. You always want to start by downloading the before and after files in the lesson. So I'm going to pull up the first before file here for the first lesson of this course, the one right after this one. And then here's the after file. You can find these linked to below the video. You'll want to pull up both these and note the differences, such as how we've projected revenue and expenses in the after file, but how in the before file, we don't have anything there. So note those differences first, then watch the video, and then start from your version of the before file and try to replicate what we did. So pull up the before file and note that you have to fill in the revenue and expenses and then go up to the top here with the drivers and try to do that based on what we did in the video and see if you can come up with something that resembles our after file right here. If you do that and you check your work against our version and it doesn't work or it doesn't match up, you can review the notes, you can look at the transcript, or you can go back and look at the video again. If you don't have any time to watch the videos or you need to get through this even more quickly, another option is that you could just pull up the Excel files, and typically on the right side of each Excel file, you'll find detailed written lesson notes. And if you are a power user or you're just trying to get through this quickly, you can look at my notes here and figure out what we're doing, why we're doing it, and get a description of some of the key formulas. So that is also an option. Let's now talk a little bit about how this course is different from other training on the market. We looked at a lot of other project finance and infrastructure training, and existing courses tend to be either far too simple or far too complicated. Some of them have Excel models that take 20 hours to walk through or complete, for example. Also, a lot of these courses don't actually cover investment recommendations. They just teach you how to use Excel and set up the formulas. That's fine, but for interview purposes, you really want to know how to use these models in real life to say yes or no to a deal. So our approach is to start out with these simpler 30 to 90 minute case studies and then move up to mid-range models that might take a few hours to finish, maybe 2, 3, up to 4 hours, but nothing that takes 20 hours to finish. We also always include some type of investment recommendation or some type of written case study questions and answers at the end. That's about it, so let's do a quick summary. Course prerequisites. Make sure you know Excel, navigation, shortcuts, and formulas, and have a pretty good understanding of accounting, valuation, and DCF analysis. For the study plans and course completion, if you have limited time, do modules 1A and 1B. If you have more time, go beyond that and go into the more complex case studies. I always recommend pulling up the before and after Excel files, noting the differences, watching the video, and then trying to replicate them. If you don't have time, just look at the written notes on the right-hand side of the page. How this course is different, we focus on simpler to mid-range models rather than very simple or very complex ones. We also have an investment recommendation or written questions and answers in each case study here. That's about it for this lesson. Coming up next, we'll get into the first case study for a toll road acquisition in Spain, and you will learn how to set up a simple acquisition infrastructure model.